Record shows that with 100,000 babies born with the disease each year, Nigeria has the highest rate of sickle cell disease in the world. 1 in 2 babies born with sickle cell disease is Nigerian. Sickle cell disease is a blood cell disorder that causes the red blood cells to take on a sickle shape due to an abnormality in the oxygen carrying protein called hemoglobin. As a result of their shape, these cells stick to vessel walls and block the flow of blood, preventing proper circulation of oxygen. This translates to the sufferer not having enough healthy red blood cells. The condition is inherited by people born with 2 sickle genes. That is the S gene, one from each parent. Anyone with the AS genotype is a sickle cell carrier. This means that the person does not have the disease but carries one of the genes that cause the condition. Basically, carriers of sickle cell won't necessarily develop the disease but are at risk of having a child with the condition. The only known cure for sickle cell disease is a bone marrow transplant, also known as stem cell transplant, which costs thousands of dollars, making it one of the most expensive medical procedures. We know what sickle cell disease is, but what is it like living with it? How best can it be prevented and managed? What sort of support exists for sufferers? That's our focus on this episode of Health Options. I urge you to join us on our nature scanner for how to manage sickle cell disease the natural way, especially with nutrition. Welcome to the program. I am Rabi Abdullah. This is Health Options, and our focus is sickle cell disease. And in the studio to share with us what it is like living with the condition is Rabi Maidunama. She is a sickle cell warrior and the founder, Maidunama Sickle Cell Foundation, and current president of the Pan-Africa Sickle Cell Federation. Glad to have you join us on Health Options, Rabi Maidunama, my namesake.
Good to be here. Thank you.
All right. Sickle cell disease. It's popularly known as the African man's disease. I'm sure you're in a better position to tell me why or how it came to derive that.
Yes. Well, there's this fight. What will I call it? That the the normal gene AA was really trying to fight against malaria. And you know, malaria is common in the black nation, right? Especially in Africa. So there was a mutation from history, that because of the fight for malaria, the gene mutated to AS. Because the genes were trying to fight malaria. So it was just a mutation. So that's how AS came about, That's from some theories. So now, because of that, the combination of these two AS now brought about a more complicated, give birth to a more complicated person, which is the SS. So that's why generally the AS don't really have malaria, because they were trying to fight AS gene, trying to fight against malaria. So that's how, from theory, that's how it came about. So the combination of the two now brings about a more complicated, because the AS are actually very healthy people, very healthy people. They hardly get malaria, but then the AA are the ones who have malaria all the time. And then the SS2, who came about as a result of the combination of the two AS traits.
Of more worrisome is the fact that Nigeria, accounts for the highest rate of sickle cell sufferers in the world. What's your take on that?
Well,
why are
maybe
we
because
on that
Nigeria,
lane?
Highest populated black nation to start with. And then, of course, we have the cultural and the religious influence. Nigeria is a very, it's full of so many cultures, it's rich in cultures.
It's
And they were,
heterogeneous.
yes. And then the religion aspect too, we're very religious people. So most people in Nigeria actually attributed it to it being a spiritual problem. From Mabiku to Obanje in different parts to Aljanu in the north,
Yes.
So because they have refused to accept initially that this is a medical condition, I think that was why it kept, destroying lives, and then more people did not care to know their genotype, and then it went on and on and on, So of course the rate at which sickle cell are being born would be higher. As it is now, 1 out of every 4 Nigerians is either AS or a sickle cell patient or warrior. That's how bad it is. So already like 25% of the population are, it's like a time bomb waiting to happen.
But I know that over time there's been concerted efforts, to create that awareness.
Of course.
We have people like advocates like you and so many others there. Government on its own is doing a lot. Are you telling me that has not succeeded in bringing about, a change in the mindset of people, or those who just were ignorant or indifferent to what could come from such a union?
I'll come back to the religious aspect again, because most of them think that with faith everything is. That is the whole argument now. Everybody keeps bringing the faith part, and there's nothing God cannot do. I'm in love with this girl, we're in love with each other, so God will heal us, blah blah blah. That's always the first, even if you're talking to educated people.
And this is a scientifically proven
medical condition, yes. And it's 100% preventable. But if you are doing a genetic counseling, or premarital counseling rather, because we are not genetics experts, premarital counseling based on what you know, based on being an advocate, there's always a problem of love, or they didn't know this earlier. We forgive our parents for not knowing. This was, but even God said
you did that out of ignorance.
Exactly. We're talking about millennial age now, and then people are still talking like, okay.
God will take control.
And he said, prevent it and I'll help you, So accept the fact that you have a problem. You're likely to bring a child with this condition. Why don't you just prevent it? Make the right choice. Know your genotype and make informed choices concerning the person you are going to get married. You don't have any right, as far as we are concerned as advocates.
Okay.
Yes, to bring in a child with sickle cell.
Can you tell us what it is like living with sickle cell?
Born with sickle cell, I started showing the signs at about 2 years, 6 months or thereabout, and I got this what we call the hand and leg syndrome, and my mother was shocked. She was worried, what's going on? So I had constant fever, nothing was working. They thought it was malaria, and then she kept running in and out of hospital, and then eventually a white nurse now told her that your child has sickle cell. So in England then, they already had a very big knowledge of what this is. So they sat my mother down and told her, lectured her so well on what she's going to face. I stopped working. I was a healthy baby, very chubby and everything. And then at a point when that started, because it can show signs from 6 months to whatever age, they educated her. At a point, she was even counseling other parents. They'll call her for workshops to counsel other parents, or in the hospital settings and all that. She accepted what this is and was ready to go the medical way in managing me and so because I came from a privileged home and my father of course was ready to spend, alhamdulillah, all the money, you know, to make me well, and that's how the treatment started, the management started. And then even when we came back to Nigeria, I had to be going for proper like blood exchange or part cells transfer. But you see, with all that medical care and good drugs and all that, I still went through a lot coping with sickle cell. When the pain starts, it doesn't care who you are or what hospital care you can get at that pain, you're going to feel that pain. What hospital does or drug does is just to reduce the agony you're going through. But until that stage of pain passes, I'm afraid you have to, then you will know that you are really a warrior. For me, at a point in my life, I almost lost the use of my legs because I had multiple osteomyelitis from my knee to my ankle to my hip. So that has been my major challenge. We all have challenges as warriors. Some are anemic. Every month they have to go for transfusion, some every 6 months, you know. But I'm lucky that mine has not been the anemic part.
Okay.
Yes, mine is the bone issue. That's where my challenge comes. So I went through a lot of surgeries growing up. You know, my bone just keeps swelling and getting all the, you know, infection, and you have to open it and drain it out and all that. So that has been my major challenge. Amidst that, you miss school, you miss playing with your peer groups, you miss so many things. And then you come to employment, relationships, you know, trying to get married. So I tell you that sickle cell affects every part of your life.
The question remains, why would a parent want to bring a child into the world with this condition? So can you speak to the parents out there, will-be parents?
You see, if you don't have something, you can never understand how it feels. You know, and let me be honest, those people that are getting married because of love, I tell you, little thing leads to divorce. Because we have seen it now with young couples breaking up because of one issue in the family or the other. Imagine taking care of a sick child. There's so many that have gotten divorced after all the love, the singing of love and everything. So many have abandoned their wives in the hospital. Even in the hospital, yes, and their children. So many are suicidal parents. That's how bad it is. So when you give people this, they still think that you are making up stories or something. Well, we don't leave any options, loopholes. We tell them that as a warrior, this is the pain I go through. You can't force anybody not to marry anybody, you know. But when you explain to them, some people, honestly, I have a couple like a few months ago called off weddings like that because they didn't know until the last stage. So that's where we're even going back to educate people, children at early age. That is our major project for the next few years now. Okay. We want to catch them early before you come and as an adult and sing love, I can't go back and I have this. I'm a warrior. I can't even get married now until I get an AA person. I want to get married. There's so many AS that are proposing. But of course, because I know what I'm going through and what my mom, my family went through, I'm making the choice. But if you don't know how a child is going to suffer, that's where the problem is. You don't feel the pain. So I'm trying to tell you now, please make informed choices so that you don't bring it. I tell you, some children will hate you. There are some that have hated their parents, yes, and they've gone away from the home. Why did you bring me into this world? Why did you do this? Yeah. It happens, and there's nothing at that point. It will be too late, nothing you can do about it.
Wow. I remember there was a bill at the Senate that even passed second reading, the one that has to do with couples knowing their genotype before marriage. Yes, I don't know how it ended up.
Well, you've been
following it?
Yeah.
There was supposed to be a public hearing.
That's the problem.
So what happened? I'm sure you are tracking it. Are you tracking it?
We have, personally, we never heard anything about the public reading again. I won't say what the I can't say what the conclusion on that is. But you see, there are other emirs in local communities, governors, and a few other people that have tried to make it now mandatory to know you before any marriage institutions, right? So gradually, I think we're getting there. People are getting sensitized, and without all this religious and government policy and all that, it would be very difficult to manage people. And then they will tell you everybody has a right to marry anybody they want. So, well, I don't know how that is going to play out for people that are stubborn.
What sort of support should warrior sufferers be getting in this part of the world that you think is not available? I mean, compared to other climes.
Hospital care.
Okay.
Hospital care, and we have different parts of sickle cell, like this blood transfusion thing, right? You need blood. Even if you bring a donor, you still have to pay for screening. At the point of that, they expect you to pay for screening or look for donor. Nobody gives you anything free. That's for starters.
That's for sufferers.
Yes.
Wow.
So some NGOs try to rally around to keep blood in the blood banks for warriors, so that, you know, it's part of what we do to work with some laboratories or wherever, people that have private institutions that have blood banks, and then so now, then the folic acid is just ₦1 per tablet, right? We already have a problem in Nigeria. If this is what we can do for sickle cell patients, I think it's a start. ₦1 per tablet. I know we're a lot of warriors here. We can't. We're already in millions, but can the government have a little subsidy for some of the drugs? What
do you foresee going forward?
Well, I think the more the awareness, I think the more there's light at the end of the tunnel. Nothing is impossible, you know. So with more awareness and targeting the right people, I think we're going to get there.
Okay.
Yes, it's not a completely hopeless situation.
Off camera, you told me you're a herbalist. What exactly do you do as a herbalist?
Well, I studied botany, right?
Okay.
And then I started going to to study medicinal plants. What is it about? How do we alternate? Africa is rich with so many. And honestly, God says, medicine is on the trees anyways. What are we doing?
And he has provided a solution to every ailment.
We have prophetic medicines that says this is good for everything. And it's so interesting studying this. Some things you get at your backyard, like ugu to boost my blood and all that. I don't need to take blood tonic that has been processed, right? And all. I don't need to do that. I can just boil my mom does it for me like 3 days at a row, and then my blood is boosted, and then I keep moving again. So it's there, fruits are there, veggies are there. So that's what I just went into, and then I began to research, and then I have mentors that are already into the field already. So.
And I'm sure you've really used that to help yourself and other people as well.
Yes, and other people. So I advise them on what to take, you know. Even nurses, some of the medical, I've started whispering to people, go and take ugu or something, you know. So
thank you so much, Rabi maidunama, for making our time to join us on Health Options. We really appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I wish you all the best in your advocacy.
Thank you for having us here. Thank you very much.
All right. Let's now go over to our nature scanner for natural ways of managing sickle cell disease.
In the management, WHO is of the opinion that they should take a lot of fluid. And taking a lot of fluid includes plants that have very high fluid content. Example like watermelon, that is over 90% of fluid. Salad materials, cucumber and co, they have a lot of fluid content. Spinach, even your common ewedu, has a lot of folic acid. And that is why we that go natural in a number of phytomedicines we deal with, which is the same natural medicine. These are just semantics. They use different names. They have a lot of folic acid in them. So when we give them, we don't advise that the synthetic folic acid be used along. Okay? Then there's a need for folic acid supplementation. So also, there's a need for vaccination and antibiotics for the purpose to prevent infection and maintain good health, because there's a lot of bacterial infection. So the vaccination is necessary from time to time. The use of antibiotics to prevent and maintain good health. Then the need for blood checking from time to time. And then pain is a major issue, because the sickled cell leads to a lot of pain, because when blood is blocked and does not pass to a certain area of the body, the pain syndrome starts. So pain is a major issue in the management of sickle cell. There are other therapies that WHO suggests, is not limited. While we work on natural medicine, in my research years, we have been able to find natural products that have the capacity to increase the blood volume, which is a major issue, PCV, because with the sickled blood cell, the blood always drops, especially when there are infections of malaria. But let me shock the world. We have been able to manage a number of sickle cell, since they don't want this word cure used. And we have been able to maintain their blood level. The way it works, the sickled red blood cell, as the patient uses this natural product, the red blood sickle cell continues to decrease, and the hemoglobin continues to go up, to the extent that when it is fully recovered, there's a genotype reversal. So, Nigeria, we will follow the standard guideline, but that will not prevent us from having, for sustainable purposes, for sustainability, we should have our own local solutions. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So what I advise is that they don't expose themselves to this very extreme cold weather. They should be prepared and wear dresses that will protect them if they are to go out during rainfall, or see that they are fully protected, and they should keep themselves within warm area to prevent those issues, and then prevent, because at this time mosquitoes are also very prevalent in different areas, so that they should prevent themselves from being bitten by mosquitoes, because those are the things that quickly trigger off sickle cell crisis. For every disease condition, stress triggers them off. So we will advise that anybody that has these traits should be very, very careful, shouldn't overstress themselves, should take it easy, eat healthily. One of those required a lot of water, you eat healthily, you take your vaccination, take antibiotics for prevention of this thing, then you take your pain relief for the purpose of, pain is a major issue in sickle cell. For everybody, we need a very, very adequate sleep. We must satisfy the 8 hours sleep that is required. Otherwise, it will tell on our health.
And that does it on this week's episode of Health Options. A quick reminder that you can go to our YouTube channel to watch the upload of this and other episodes of the program. Email us for your comments and contributions at healthoptions@nta.gov.ng. Know your genotype. Be sickle smart. I remain yours, Rabi Abdullah. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again.